Everyone, welcome back to Weather for Weather Geeks. It's the most detailed video you're going to find, at least about the weather, anywhere in our area. And on this Thursday evening, we had another nice day today. Certainly less fog and cloudiness in the morning than we had yesterday. We had a little haze in the sky, which we'll talk about in this video, certainly coming up. But we are halfway through September, so let's quickly review some of the numbers thus far in September. Temperature-wise, at least as far as high temperatures are concerned, we've had a pretty decent balance between warm days and cool days, but actually when you factor in highs and lows, we are running about 2.3 degrees above average through the first half of the month. Maybe a little bit surprised by that number given the number of cool afternoon highs, but we haven't had that many cool nights, with the last couple of nights being kind of an exception. But we haven't had too many crisp, cool nights yet this September. Now at the Youngstown Warren Airport, where we get our official numbers, we're at 1.57 inches of rain for the month. That is a little below average. Now, of course, some of us had double this in just a matter of a couple of hours on Sunday the 4th. But where we get our official numbers at the airport in Trumbull County, we're at 1.57. Interesting, all of the rain has occurred early in our weeks. Wednesday through Saturday have all been dry so far in September, and, well, that trend's going to keep on rolling as we head towards this upcoming weekend. All right, let's take a look at the longer range real quickly this evening before we get back to the short term. Today, the Climate Prediction Center put out their updated winter outlook, so meteorological winter, December, January, and February. Just a reminder, our winter forecast will come out probably at the end of October or that first week of November. This forecast kind of looks familiar, right? It kind of looks like a lot of winter forecasts last year. The reason for that, a lot of the ingredients are kind of the same this year. We're going to have a La Nina again this winter, the third one in a row, which is pretty rare. That hasn't happened often. But with a base state, a background state, if you will, of La Nina, factoring in some other things going on across the oceans and in the atmosphere as well. This is what their map looks like right now for meteorological winter. Odds favoring a cooler than average winter in the northern tier of states, warmer than average in the southwest, and odds favoring a warmer than average winter in the southeast. This is all pretty standardish La Nina stuff, with some variations, but this is, kind of a textbook La Nina temperature look. Pretty classic La Nina precipitation outlook as well for meteorological winter. Oftentimes in La Ninas, we have above average precipitation in the northwestern corner of the U.S. and around the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. It tends to be dry, with the subtropical jet stream not being much of a factor in a La Nina winter. You typically have a pretty dry winter from California to Texas, over towards the Carolinas and down into Florida as well. Anyway, that's their outlook right now. We're still a good 6 weeks away from our outlook coming out. One season at a time, technically, from an astronomical season standpoint. We're still in summer for another 6 days. So yeah, one season at a time. All right, so especially later this afternoon into this evening, you may have noticed the haze in the sky, especially in our western skies. You'll see overlooking Boardman here. Some wildfire smoke, high altitude smoke. Nice sunset this evening. Notice the sun, it's set. Let me bring that back up. Sunset was over here. Well, of course, on the equinox coming up next week, it's going to set directly over 224, making for blinding driving conditions around sunset if you're heading west on 224 from Poland to Boardman and out towards Canfield. And the same holds true for early morning commuters heading east from Canfield to Boardman over Poland. 224, of course, being a due east-west route. It's a little tricky right around the equinox with that low sun angle. Producing some blinding conditions. Here's a look at our model depiction of the wildfire smoke over the next 36 hours. May thin some tonight into tomorrow, but then later tomorrow into tomorrow night, even into Saturday morning, there may be some of this high-altitude wildfire smoke still overhead, making for a little bit of a milky or hazy sky. This is high enough above our heads and thin enough that it's not a health hazard. This is not anything to be real concerned about. And in fact, while we don't want wildfires, certainly, sometimes the presence of these aerosols in the air can make for colorful sky optics, sunrises and sunsets included. Now, this evening's wasn't super vivid, but it can certainly sometimes help out. Before we come back home, let's touch base with the tropics once again. We're going to talk about the Atlantic, of course, and we're only a handful of days past the climatological peak of hurricane season in the Atlantic. That's usually around September 10th and 11th, is where, from a historical perspective, that's where we've historically seen the highest number of tropical storms, hurricanes, major hurricanes. We're just past that peak. We got a long way to go, though. Even though the season is off to a very slow start, the true tropical season really doesn't technically end until about November 1st. We've got all of September and October to get through, so it's too early to say that the season has been a total dud, but it has been pretty quiet. And Fiona is a tropical storm. This was a depression last evening, became a storm last evening late, and then overnight. It's kind of struggling with a lot of wind shear. This is getting sheared apart a lot. In other words, a lot of this convection is actually east of the center of circulation, which is more like over here. So Fiona's struggling a little bit. It's still a decent tropical storm from a wind perspective and a pressure perspective. 1,005 millibars is the pressure, with winds gusting up to 70. The track of this would take it across some of the Caribbean islands and towards Hispaniola, and then maybe impacting the Bahamas by early next week. But chances are this is going to be a miss for the U.S. Chances are this thing's going to go like this as we go into the middle of next week. So Fiona probably for the U.S. is no big deal. A modest deal for some of the Caribbean, but it's going to struggle a little bit, I think, to strengthen. All right, much like last night, just after this video posts, we have a pretty good space station flyby. This evening, a little higher in the sky and lasting a little longer than last evening. 8:46 to 8:51 this evening, getting 68 degrees above the horizon. So check that out if you happen to see this video before that time. High school football, we haven't had a drop of rain so far on Friday evenings this season, and this week will follow suit. Beautiful evening. 74 at kickoff Friday evening, 66 by the end of our games a few hours later. All systems go for a nice day Friday, nice day Saturday, nice day Sunday. A few fair weather clouds, that is about it. So, if you're going to stain the deck or paint the house or do anything that you need a prolonged period of dry weather, hopefully you're taking advantage of this stretch, because it's going to continue through the daylight hours on Sunday. This front will finally start to meander far enough to the south and east that we might start to pick up a stray shower and maybe a thunderstorm or two Sunday night late, and with a somewhat better chance on Monday. Browns and Steelers both on the road to begin the season last week, but they're at home. 1 p.m. kickoffs in both locations. The forecast, kind of like it is around our viewing area. Lower, middle 80s, very warm, and not a lake breeze concern up in Cleveland with a southwest wind. No northerly breeze creating a little bit of a chill near the lakeshore. And yeah, it's going to be toasty down in Pittsburgh as well. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the name of the stadium now in Pittsburgh. What used to be Heinz Field, now it's some other corporate name that is hard to pronounce, it seems like. We're going to be dry. We're going to be warm. Southwest wind 7 to 14 in Pittsburgh. And checking out the next 10 days, temperatures kind of peak from Sunday through Wednesday, and then we start stepping down at least closer to average by late next week and next weekend. Now, don't forget, 10 days from now, our average is down to 71. So a day that is a degree or two above average, but like by next weekend, that's a 72, 73 degree day. That's not in the 80s anymore. Our averages are falling quickly, of course, at this time of the year. So we go from an average high of 75 on tomorrow's date to 71 on that final Sunday of September. Thank you as always for watching on this Thursday evening. Make it a great rest of your night and enjoy the beautiful day on Friday.